All right, real quick before I go to bed. I'm tired. Um, the only reason I'm just played this, and the reason I really want to record and upload this is because the opponent was talking about how it's an unwinnable matchup for Lantern, pretty much. So see how it turns out. I'm gonna go first, and I do keep it 3 land hand. I got discard and disruption, and I might be able to draw into a lock or a bridge. And there's like a lot of top decks that make this deck and this hand work. So I decided to go for it. An opponent has a pretty good hand too. They scried to the top, so I milled it. Looks like they were trying to set up that third land to get Liliana on turn 3. Now here, you'll notice I played a Shredder and then passed turn without playing a land, and that's because I want to um, hold lands. So most of their Thoughtseize and Inquisitions cannot make me discard lands. Here I do play the Opal and I play an Inventor's Fair, so I can start gaining life off of Inventor's Fair. Still keeping cards in hand here. Opponent has a Lily, so I discard my Collective Brutality here. And I happen to top deck a Needle on Lily. Very fortunate. But I am going to start taking damage from Mutavault. So still holding cards in my hand. An opponent gets a Wrench Mine, which is devastating with 3 of these guys out. That speeds up their clock a lot. And again, I'm still holding cards. So I do draw, so I play a Lantern, and my plan here is to try to dig to a Needle. I did not see my opponent draw the rack though, so that comes in, factors in here in a bit. So I'm thinking about this, and what I need to do is I need to be able to continue to hold lands in my hand, but I also need to play a third land to whir for a Needle, because chances are I'm not going to naturally draw a Needle. Or I could try to get a Ancient Stirrings, and Stirrings for a Needle. But either way, most likely I need that third land for a Needle. That means that I'm going to have to drop cards in my hand, but I can't drop it more than 2, or else I'll just die. So I see this, and I'm like, well, if I drop down to 2 cards in hand, I'm going to take a point of damage. Plus, I'm going to take another 4 right here. It's not looking good. So I figure I'll just mill this and try to only take the 4 damage, gain life, needle these, and I'll, just hold build cards back up. But a rack might not let me do that. So I go ahead and mill it. Fortunately, there's a land. Yep. So now what I'm trying to do is self-mill into that Needle. Or, heck, if I can, yeah. I sack my Shredder, or my Lantern, try to shuffle it up, and I don't get a Needle. So that's life sometimes. So game 2, I did, let's see, slided in my ley lines, Claim, Grudge, Seal, ley lines, and Needle. Slided out brutalities. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I slided out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's it at? Bell. Oh, up here. A bell. And I think I slided out a bauble as well. All right, so I don't have a ley line here, but I have a turn 1 hand where I can immediately Needle Lily and Inquisition either the Rack or Shrieking Affliction or whatever they have out of their hand. So. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm forced to get the Ratchet Bomb out of their hand instead. Go ahead and look at their top to try to draw an extra card. Now what I forgot to draw the extra card, but they let me do it. Yeah, go there. I believe I just hold, yeah. Go ahead and I decay the affliction because I'd have to decay something. And if I decay this, I'll take three. If I and I have ancient grudges that can continue to take care of the wrecks, whereas I only have uh, the claim and whatnot for everything else. So claim will take care of this as well, and seal will take care of it as well. But ancient grudge will only take care of this and not affliction. So I need to use everything on affliction first. So I take my 2 damage. I go ahead and stirrings. I decide to stirrings for a needle, and then I can save whir if I really need to. Or sorry, I stirrings for a lantern. I'm so tired. I'm not too worried about surgical here. I didn't see them draw the other surgical though, unfortunately. So I'm thinking I can whir for a needle for this guy. And then it looks like I'll be set. So I still have to worry about the rack, but I got a few answers to that. So during my draw phase, they say they want to do something. So during draw phase, I mess up, I actually take 3 damage instead of 2. I gain it back because, you know, I'm only supposed to take 2. I take the 2, I'm supposed to take 2, whir, and I whir for a needle. Yeah, opponent says it must be impossible to beat 8 rack with lantern, and I give him the link to the spreadsheet where it shows my win percentage. It's like 77% against 8 rack, or the accumulated win percentage. So now after the shuffle on top, I have an ancient grudge, which is good because they can make me discard or whatever. And they could also surgical to shuffle that away, but they decide not to, which is smart because they have that second surgical there. So they surgical my whirs, smart. And then they'll Inquisition, and I didn't know about the second surgical. I'm like, okay, that's not so bad. But then they surgical that too. All right. So yeah, I forgot to take that 2 damage. So everything's still good. And so stirrings for something. I was hoping to try and maybe get a land and just stick the land in my hand. But I also figured that if I don't, if I was thinking if I use Pixis and they still have a land or black mana underneath that, then I can go ahead and play this, take another 2 damage, and I'll still be okay. I'll just mill the next black mana and hope they don't have a Raven's Crime, basically. I don't need that. There's a black mana, so I gotta get rid of that. So now I have to play Shredder, and I just hold the bauble now. This little guy costs 2 black mana, so I'm good. Go ahead and take my point of damage. Now here I'm thinking about whether or not I want to use Pixis to get rid of Raven's Crime. And the thought process here is the opponent could start using top deck Mutavaults to make me discard cards. However, that's only going to deal 1 damage at most, and I'll still have cards in my hand. So if I just keep, digging for lands and holding lands, the rest of their discard is still not going to do squat. So I should still be okay. Plus, them doing that means they won't be able to have more lands after the smallpox if they ever get smallpox off. So I dig, and I get a second land in my hand. I'm good with Raven's Crime. I'll just discard the bauble. Draw the lantern and keep it. Take my little... Did I take my... Yeah, I took my damage. Good. and still just holding cards in my hand, holding lands. Now I got a double rock lock, and so even if I let them draw Mutavault and discard it to Raven's Crime, I'll just discard the Lantern and I'll still be good. All right, heck, I can discard a land. It doesn't matter. I'd probably discard the Lantern so I can draw and play the Mill Rock and have a 3-rock lock. And the opponent has had enough, concedes. So game 3, it's like a decent hand, I guess. They decide to be on the draw, and after they've looked at their hand, I keep a 0 lander with the ley line. Now I do forget to play my bauble because I don't see a land there, and I don't even think about it. And after that, I see the bauble. Oh yeah, I can totally play that now. So look at their top. Yeah, Urborg doesn't matter. They already have an Urborg, so they can still rain themselves or something, I guess. And I start getting ready for the lock. Between this, and a lantern, I should be pretty good for the most part. And this will let me freely exile Raven's Crime stuff. Even though Raven's Crime shouldn't be an issue, you know, just in case. Opponent goes to play Smallpox. They forget they have second creature too. So what they do is they tap Mutavault after I point it out. And they sack their Mutavault. I draw a Decay. Woo. So now a lot of their top decks are still really dead because of Leyline. So Confidant is really the best thing they got going here. It's like the only thing they got going. So Affliction is not going to matter because they can't make me discard cards. So I keep the mana up so I can decay. Once that's set, they have no threats left. They got nothing. And I can just play as I want. And it's an easy game from here. I go for the Inquisition, and the opponent loses connection to game. So not so unwinnable for Lantern after all. All right.